You know what? Almond milk isn't milk. Almonds don't have nipples. Can we be back to D&D now, please?
Yes, please.
Excellent.
Nut juice.
Oats don't have nipples either.
Don't say nut juice again, please.
It's nut juice. What do you want me to
Can we just cut back to the game on all that don't have nipples? Can we play D&D? Yes. Done. Okay.
Does the Squelcher Lord have nipples?
Possibly. So, Evie,
Yes.
we'll get back to you. Did you buy stuff from town, by the way?
I didn't need to buy anything.
Okay, so you just kind of went around and window shopping?
Yeah, I guess.
Okay. So, yeah, fairly robust marketplace. And make a... call this either perception or investigation. I'll let you pick.
My perception is a lot better than my investigation.
Okay.
So I got a 16.
A 16? Quite a lot of hucksters in the marketplace. Considering you just went through this something similar with a con man in your own village.
Mm-hmm.
People selling good luck charms or exchanging money to, for example, remove a curse that's been placed on them or place a curse on somebody else, or saying like a hushed prayer. A lot of that is going on in this village. People seem very preoccupied with warding off or invoking angry spirits. This to you sounds like a bunch of unseelie nonsense, but it's being done fairly openly in the marketplace. It's something you make note of as you're wandering around this afternoon. Word gets back to you that the Squelcher Lord would admit you and your party at some point before the wedding, if you were so inclined.
Wonderful. She'll gather up her crew, and that's when to report back.
Victor no longer smells like lettuce.
Well, that's good.
So
Evie, do you know what Jeannie's been talking about?
So the Squelcher Lord wants you to stay in his house. And we negotiated, we said that you would agree, and that we negotiated a squire to go. Was it a squire?
It was a
Valet, I think.
Valet.
Yeah, valet.
And we volunteered Victor for that.
So, wait, you guys volunteered me to stay in the Squelcher Lord's house?
Hang on. You guys volunteered me to stay
Yeah.
in the Squelcher Lord's house alone with Victor.
You want me to stay with Evie?
Victor
We
will watch
figured
your-
that would be the safest for everyone.
like, the two of you together are political. You don't want me there. I
Also,
would
if
shoot
anything
somebody.
goes wrong, Victor can talk into our minds and let us know.
But Evie, we can steal all the stuff he's taken from these people. We can liberate them.
So, I'm trying to get out of this situation without causing a war.
Okay, Evie, let's be real. Have we met anybody in this land so far that we did not want to kill or actually kill?
I mean, you're not wrong.
How many people are living in our village?
We don't know
Demetrius
yet.
is working on that census.
It's around 40 at this point, probably.
You're right. Let me repeat. Have we met anybody in a position of power that we did not kill?
That seems more reasonable.
I mean, Aslan.
Oh, I feel like give it time with that one.
I don't think the specific leader of the halflings died.
I mean, they did try to kill us, though.
They did try to kill us.
No, but we didn't kill them.
Nice, but
Listen, all I'm saying is that, given our history, I'm pretty sure we're gonna end up at war no matter what we do. That's just how things work here.
Can we have?
Oh, there was that ice giant that was frozen in time or something. We didn't kill them.
we had to kill Denny to stop him from waking the ice giant up.
No, Denny lived.
Okay, we had to beat up Denny.
No, well, Denny lived for a little while, but yeah, we know how that worked out.
Anyway, we figured that the two of you would be the best, because if worse comes to worse and they try to like keep you in, the two of you could probably sneak out relatively easy. Whereas, and I'll point at Ekon, clang, 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 and I'm very liable to. I don't have the disposition for politics, and
No, you have the disposition for blowing things up.
Evie, she's not wrong.
So
And
my
I would
understanding is that Victor is being selected to pose as Evie's valet, or rather his stotis metor unimatis praetor.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our stupid motherfucker.
So who else is going up to meet with the Squelcher Lord?
I mean,
Is
if
the whole
they'll
party
let
going,
us
or
all-
just the two of them?
I think the whole party
I
should
don't-
go.
I think
Yeah.
we should all go, but only
Yeah.
thankfully the two of us have been invited to stay.
And I would also like to point out that I volunteered you, Victor, because I would rather hang out with Edmont.
I mean, that's just a given.
All right,
Damn.
if we're gonna go meet him right now, then I'm gonna like ask for the servants to get a bath ready for me so I can look presentable.
Yeah, they can haul the tub back up and fill it back up. They don't mind doing the same thing 8 times a day.
Well, okay, well, Evie will primp herself and she'll dress up in her nice dress, and then we can go present ourselves. Anybody got anything before we do?
Yeah, while you're taking a shower, Victor will explain to the 3 tagalongs what's going on, and he will discuss with them, as well as, I guess, Jeannie and Ekon and Edmont, if they want to come along as valets for Jeannie, Ekon, and Edmont. Or if they'll be noticed by the Squelcher Lord. That's a bad idea.
No, because he might recognize them. So no,
Yeah, no,
he doesn't strike
good.
me as the kind of guy that remembers faces like that from his reputation, but it's possible.
So the whole group of you are going up into the Squelcher Lord's Hall. Yes? All 6 of you?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right.
So, Jeannie, how is a valet supposed to behave?
Stand behind. Just stand
And don't
behind her.
talk.
Yeah, and don't talk.
So these are 5-foot squares. The place is the main long hall of the Squelcher Lord's keep. As you're taken in, so you're taking in through a small foyer area, and then behind that are large doors leading into the long hall, which is set up with long dining tables running the length of the hall. And then up on the dais at the far end of the hall is the high table. Currently in front of the high table are 2 large chairs. Now, when I say large chairs, I mean one of them is a large chair, and then one of them is twice as wide as it, because the Squelcher Lord is the most morbidly obese man you've ever seen in your life.
Okay, so when you say Squelcher Lord, I'm picturing the Duke from Dune.
I'm picturing Jabba the Hutt.
I want you to picture Fat Denethor having a bad day.
Oh, I know who I can invoke that only Chris will get. Bothry from Shadowbringers.
Yeah, there we go.
Lord Randus, who many of his subjects have been calling the Squelcher Lord, is a disgustingly fat man. Just a blob of skin and rolls and appendages stuffed into this chair. His clothes are matted, and you're not sure how long ago they were washed last. There are food stains and other kinds of stains that you don't want to ask about. Somewhere underneath the mess of him, you do see the red and yellow checks of his banner. Sitting in the larger chair next to him, and the chair is too large for him by far, is this scrawny young lad, 13 or 14 years old, sitting up straight with a well-cropped hair, doing his best to look lordly. The rest of the hall is filled with, right now, what is Lord Randus's court. So a lot of collective nobles and his vassals from throughout his realm. Many of his knights have traveled here from far away. Laughing and revelry and merriment is being had. Wedding preparations are still underway, so the hall is also filled with servants coming and going. And as you step into the hall, you are brought in through the foyer by 2 of the men-at-arms, greeted there by Leorno, the seneschal, He enters the hall, calls the revelry down to just a quiet din. Presenting the Lady Evelyn Veritas and her valet, Stotis Metor Unimatus Praetor Victor.
Jeannie giggles under her breath.
And Evie
Victor,
just
this guy just
glares at
announced
Jeannie.
you as stupid motherfucker, Victor.
Victor just smiles at Jeannie.
She threw a rock at you.
Oh, it's how Jeannie shows her love.
I don't think she's treated anybody else in the
there's
party
love.
like this.
I don't think this is love. I think this is spite.
I need to develop a psychiatrist character and get Jeannie on the couch and find out. Get to some
This is what I've been saying. We need a therapist, but there are no therapists in Ravenloft.
So,
Evil therapist.
the Seneschal Leorno is not going to apologize, but I suppose I will apologize on his behalf. If you got the impression you were going to be meeting with the Squelcher Lord to have a private conversation, you are not. You stand before his entire court. But when you're announced, the men raise their glasses, and several of them call out the name, hailing in the Duchess Veritas. Leorno did announce you as the Lady Evelyn, not the Duchess Evelyn.
Not sure if that's a slight or if they just think I'm bullshitting.
As you enter,
So-
the Squelcher Lord in the back of the hall, the boy gets to his feet, but Lord Randus does not.
So, question, Brick.
Yes.
From what we know of Ferniskin nobility and society, would it be common practice for the valet to announce their noble whenever they enter?
That would depend on a lot of circumstances. I'm sure it's done differently all over the Republic. Typically, if you were going to like a fancy soiree, like say in Brennanine, like an upper crust kind of party, probably the butler of the house typically would have the job of announcing each nobleman and noblewoman as they arrive.
Go ahead and you're gonna announce
Yep.
Duchess Veritas.
So Victor will make his way to the floor,
Okay?
and he will announce, "My Lord Randus, allow me to introduce to you the Duchess Evelyn Veritas of New South Warren,
Just New Warren.
along with the rest of her family, the Lord Edmont Veritas."
Edmont's a lord now.
What's the what would the word for?
So Edmont doesn't have a title, if that's what you're searching for. He's not.
No. I'm
She's
I'm
looking for
thinking
something
of-
to call Genie.
What would the word for like shallow, flaky, empty-headed bimbo?
You have very long titles in this republic you come from. So you call out a slight for the Duchess's sister, Jeannie.
Yes.
Okay. Jeannie, you did throw a rock at him.
I did.
How do you
It's
announce Edmont and Victor? Or Edmont and Ekon, rather.
And finally, may I present to you his esteemed, I don't know what the word for priesty lordling would be, but
Aethar.
Yeah, Hathor.
the esteemed High Aethar Ekon Veritas of House
Whoa.
Veritas.
He's the only one in the room with a title, actually. How the rest of you react to being announced in such a way?
Stoneface.
Well, I
Stoneface?
hope no one knows comprehend languages. Oh, wow.
You see a myriad of different reactions to this. Some people in the hall seem amused at the grandiose entrance. Some people seem annoyed. Other people don't seem impressed at all. Some people seem intrigued. It just runs the gamut, more or less. The boy speaks from up near the high table and calls down, and doing a fairly good job of projecting his voice and sounding like the lordling he is. My Lord Father welcomes you to his hall. Please, and he motions to a place on this table where several seats are still open. Sit.
Step out of the way and allow the lordlings to pass.
And as each of you sit in turn. There's a place for all 6 of you to sit at this table. And after a few moments, ale, bread, and cheese are brought out for you. Once you all are seated and the conversation around the hall has started to pick up a little bit more, Lord Randus waits until you're served before he speaks the first words to you. And he says, "So, you have all traveled a very long way to eat of my bread and cheese. To what do I owe this great honor, considering that my seneschal tells me you're not here for the wedding?" And he speaks with great effort, and he has to stop every 2 words to make this horrific slurping sound out of the sides of his mouth. And immediately all of you realize, oh, that's why.
All right, so I've been waiting for the right moment to play this card. Evie has no choice now but to embrace the dark side. So I would like to do, according to my mastermind feature, I can imitate the voice patterns of anyone I've heard speak for more than a minute.
Mm-hmm.
Full Ruby.
Okay.
I thought you were going to go Aslan, but that's
I thought that's where he was going to. I'm like, this is going to end well.
Hold on 1 second. Where is it?
You've definitely heard Ruby yell at you for more than a minute.
Oh, yes.
Hold on. Enhance ability.
If you guys close your eyes, it's Ruby talking. It's scary.
Can I put my hand as she's getting up? Well, no, it's verbal, somatic, and material. Never mind. I was going to cast enhance ability on her, but I don't know if I can do that. I can't really do that stealthily.
Yeah, not unless you've got a feat that allows you to.
So here's what I would like to know, now that I am fully in the Ruby zone.
Yep.
What would I have to do to know what I think Ruby would do in this situation?
I mean, that's all entirely up to you. At this point in time, all you have left is your memories of Ruby. So you're going to have to do what you're going to do and then ask your companions later whether they thought that was Ruby enough or not.
Demand.
To be clear, it's almost certainly not the case that Ruby would go into a situation like this and try to use magic to her advantage. That would be a big no-no in your society.
No, I wouldn't do that. I wasn't going to do that. Evie can't use magic.
Fair enough.
She has the 4 spells of our house, and none of those are going to be helpful here.
Evie steps forth and summons her owl. Ooh. Ah.
Oh, yeah. Well, she does have the owl.
So you step before the Squelcher Lord and you put on your best Ruby voice.
It's an honor to meet you, Lord Randus. We bring word from our lands of a man who claimed to be in your service. I did not know his name, but he was a soldier who wore your colors. He said that he had been sent there to scout the land for possible expansion. It is to my regret to inform you that this man has lost his life.
A tragedy, to be sure. No doubt the man died performing good in Leal's service.
He died with your name on his lips.
Victor and Ekon, what's your passive perceptions?
16.
Ekon, how's yours?
I don't know, some stupid number. I think 17.
Okay, so both of you here.
Yeah, 17.
There's a pair of knights sitting at the very far end of the table, just next to you. And one leans to the other and whispers, "Most men in Randus' service died with something else on their lips." The second knight just snickers and hides his face in his ale. You're pretty sure you're the only two who overheard the barb.
Victor will make a mental note of that and nudge Genie.
Yeah, I can all lock eyes with Victor for a second.
By the way, who is this? Literally, this green token.
That's the
Who's that
Sculpture Lord. That represents where he and the teenage boy is sitting next to him. So they have chairs set up in front of the high table. Right now, this place is not set up for like a dining situation. Just guys hanging out, drinking, and telling japes.
Is he a large creature?
God, probably not, but it's a close thing.
Allow me to formally introduce myself. I am Evelyn Veritas.
Oh, I believe we've heard you called twice by my ears. There's still work, you know. He leans way forward in and cups his hand behind his ear just to make sure you can see it. And not only can you see it, but you can see the gross tuft of gray hair poking out from inside of it.
I come from the land to the south, a new duchy called New Warren, which I administrated at the command of Aslan Rex, king.
We are friends here of Aslan Rex.
As are we.
It delights me to learn that the lands to the south are peopled once again. We can discuss the terms of your taxation, perhaps, after the wedding, I think.
The terms of our taxation are already settled.
Oh, good. Glad to hear. I find negotiation to be so very droll.
There is a matter to be discussed between us.
He listens expectantly.
Through our duchy flows a river, or did at one time. We journeyed here to your lands to discover that that river has been dammed. Now that there are people in the Duchy of New Warren once again, we require that this water be freed for our use as well.
Oh! And he clutches his hands to his soiled chest. It aches my heart to hear of such hardship that your people endure. But as you've seen, the dam provides much needed water and irrigation for croplands necessitated by my much larger populated province. You would not ask me to lead my people to ruin and starvation? Surely not. And he throws his arms out to the hall. In their very presence.
Water rights are clear. Our people are entitled to the use of this water as well.
And he leans back, sits back, drops his arms back over his just giant... He has almost a table, but it's just his belly. It's just his gut. It's awful. Very well. Henceforth, the people of the vassal state to the south, overseen by the lady styling herself Duchess Veritas, may climb my rocks and hills with buckets and take from my lake as much water as they can carry home. So be it decreed.
So Victor is going to Victor is going to establish a telepathic link with Genie, as well as Ekon and Edmont. And in this link, he's going to say, "Do you think we're going to be executed or imprisoned?"
No,
At this point, I'm ambiguous to the whole idea.
No.
All of you, there is laughter and chuckling throughout the hall at that statement.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Evie nods. She says, "Thank you, Lord Randus. I have heard it from your own lips. We may take as much water as we like." That's all I have to say. We leave in peace.
Do you actually leave, or do you sit back down at the table?
Anyone else have anything to say?
No.
Not that we can say in polite company.
Okay. He gave us permission to take as much water as we want.
That's not what he said. Let's be
Yeah,
clear.
it is. He said we could take as much water as we like.
You're not gonna correct him on the
He
whole
said-
vassal state thing?
One of the men sitting at the table behind you, so Genie, your back is
Yeah.
to his back, and he leans back across. He says, I can have 100 buckets constructed for you.
I'm going to turn around and say, shut your mouth, please.
Victor will turn and say, "That's okay. We just need one," and he will stand up to leave.
So Victor's leaving the hall.
Well, he's going to stand up and do whatever Evie's doing.
What is he?
I was saying.
Is Evie leaving?
Yeah, is Evie leaving?
He gave me permission to take water.
Oh God.
The rest of you make an insight check.
14.
14. Can anybody beat a 14?
15.
15.
11.
You guys have been getting more and more used to...
That's a 22.
Oh, Edmont. It's pretty much everybody but Victor. Victor, Victor's still patting himself on the back for getting Genie back with the Stotis Mator, etc., Barb. The rest of you have been getting very acclimated to hearing Evie's Ruby voice over the past few weeks. And you can tell that she purposely put on a Ruby voice for this scene. But hearing what she wants to hear from a superior noble in a diplomatic conversation is not what Ruby would do under any circumstances. She was much more careful than that.
I mean, I'll walk up as we're leaving. I'll tell her that. I mean, like, you know, that was
It's not very Ruby of you.
yeah.
He's not going to give us anything. There's
So
no
what?
point in talking to him.
Are we
Once
saying
we're
it's like in the
out,
hall, or are we going to leave first? And...
Yeah, well, we need to be out of here before Edmont can speak freely.
So as you get to the south end of the hall, Leorno approaches again. My lady, you and he motions to Victor, and it's with great difficulty that he pronounces the entire title, but he does it every time he addresses Victor. Stotis Mator, Unimatus Praetor. Your rooms have been made ready, if you would like to follow me, please.
I would be delighted.
Well, he's addressing Evie.
No, Evie will follow.
Okay. So there's a hallway
Maybe-
off the side of the hall. What's that been doing?
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, may we accompany her as guests? We will be, of course, vacating before night.
I mean, you could peek into the rooms. But yeah, there's a hallway off to the side of the hall. These double doors are actually open because you see them lead to another wing of the keep, which you assume a lot of these noblemen are put up in. You guys are led to this door here, which opens up into a large room just off the hall, which has both a small commons area and a relatively large sleeping quarters. And the seneschal walks you in. He says, I saw it fit to provide quarters as befitting my lady's station. I assume they are to your liking?
They are sufficient.
You say sufficient?
Mm-hmm.
He squirrels his face up a little bit, but he doesn't respond to it. I'm glad to hear it, my lady. And then he motions to escort the rest of you back out of the room.
I require to speak with my sister before we leave. Thank you. You may be excused.
Very well. And he leaves the door, but he doesn't close the door on his way out.
Edmont, can you please get the door?
Yeah, and I will.
And now here you are in Evie's room, which is really more of a suite. You have this nice commons area with a hearth, and then the stairs leading up to a fairly large sleeping area as well.
Edmont puts his finger over his lips, then looks to Victor, taps the side of his head.
What's up? So Victor already has a link with Edmont, Ekon, and Genie.
First of all, it's like I'm going to scan the room. Ask Ekon to scan the upper room for any kind of enchantments or anything, and I'll do the bottom room.
Sure.
Is there any active magic that we can detect?
Ekon, give me an Arcana check, please.
Victor is going to check.
Arcana of 16.
Bear with me just one moment. Once my phone catches up with me here, because that's where all the spells live.
Victor is going to check for secret doors and passages.
Make me an investigation check. So, Ekon, there are shelves in the room, both in the downstairs portion and the upstairs portion, but they're not like bookshelves. There's not a lot in the way, there's not really much of anything on a lot of them. Bits and baubles, a couple pieces of cutlery, a goblet or two, that sort of thing. However, upstairs, on one of the shelves near to the bed, you do detect an aura of divination magic in place.
I'll relay over the mind link. There's definitely some sort of scrying sensor.
Is it an object?
You just detect an aura
I-
of magic.
No, I can't tell. I can just feel the aura.
So
I
it's
can't
not
put it
safe to talk here.
The two of you have thieves. You're thieves. You have thieves' cant, right?
Yep. So Victor will.
So you can. The two of you can basically talk about nothing while talking to each other.
Yeah, Victor will talk to Evie to tell her that.
Well, is Victor talking to Evie, or is Victor investigating the room for secret doors?
So in the middle of his investigation, once somebody tells him that there's a divination thing, he will pause and tell Evie that they're listening. So watch what you say, and then he'll go
He's
back.
saying that
to
thieves can't, right?
Yeah, and thieves can't.
Okay.
And then he'll go back to trying to find secret doors with a roll of an 11.
11?
Yeah, because I can't roll.
You go over the room. You didn't find anything, but you also didn't do an exhaustive search. It would be difficult to do that in the few minutes that you've been in the room so far. And now that you know that there's a divination sensor, you're not sure how much of a ruckus you want to raise. Yeah, so what's next?
So Evie, I think our Lord is being most gracious, don't you?
Evie nods.
So I need you to tell Evie that she did. I don't think she did a good job, and that, she basically just declared that we're a vassal state of that grotesque pig of a man. And yes, I understand why they call him the Squelcher Lord now.
I think Ruby would be incredibly proud of the way you handle this situation, so openly and comfortably securing our position as a vassal state for Lord Randus. I'm sure that our people will benefit greatly from this organization or deal or whatever. And he will smile pleasantly at Evie and make an eye motion to Genie.
I mean, are you relaying the thing in thieves' cant, or is that what you're telling her?
I'm going to work under the assumption that you guys are communicating in this room between all six of you using a combination of this mind link and thieves' cant.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, in that case, then yeah, and thieves can't even saying you fucked up.
There's no way to do anything good with that man. He is not going to listen to any kind of reason. He's not going to give us anything. He's going to just assume whatever he wants is the way it's going to be.
This door opens.
Are you translating over the mind link?
Yeah.
The door opens, and two servants, a young man and a young woman. Forgive us. Does the Duchess need anything else?
No, you may be excused, and I'll wave him out. And please, do not disturb us for the next few minutes.
They exchange glances and look back. Begging your pardon, but Lord Randus would like to know when the Duchess's entourage will be returning to their quarters at the beer house.
Momentarily.
They nod, and they leave the room, but they don't close the door.
Ekon's just
We'll close the door.
Person door.
Ekon's gonna relay over the mind link. No, I actually agree. I don't think there's any way it didn't openly come to blows, and that was probably a victory. Let's get the hell out of here.
No, I think what's going to happen is we're just going to go back and blow up the dam, and then we'll use our buckets to get water. It just, we won't have to climb for it.
So we're killing this man, right?
I think instead of killing him, we should put him in the pillory.
You need to build a bigger pillory.
I was about to say that exact same
I
thing.
think we should get out of this building before we discuss this anymore. I don't necessarily even trust the mind link with that magic. I couldn't tell exactly what it did.
Indeed. Well, you and I need to stay here tonight, apparently. Otherwise, we might risk offending him.
Victor, you keep my sister safe. If she dies and you live, I will kill you. Good night. And Eugenia walks out the door.
She's been throwing rocks at you all day, dude.
Don't worry, Eugenia. If she dies, I'll kill her myself.
As you open the door, Eugenia, and you go to leave the room, talking with one of the men-at-arms who was standing at the door leading out to the foyer, you see Talana, the horned woman. And she's got her cloak up over her head, just having a brief conversation. She hears the door open. She turns her head. Looks like she's just arrived, just a moment ago.
I'll smile and nod to her in greeting.
Oh, I see that Lady Evelyn and her entourage have already arrived.
Duchess Evelyn.
My
I correct her.
apologies. Yeah, Talana steps forward. She explains that her lady sent her up to the village a day early just to ensure that everything is taken care of to the degree it needs to be for her arrival. There seems to be some confusion over to where my lady will be staying in Lord Randis's keep. And you can see this is exactly what she's been talking to the man-at-arms about.
We wouldn't know. We were assigned this room here by the Seneschal for my sister's use. You might keep it up. You might speak up with him.
The man-at-arms pipes in when you blame the Seneschal. It's, Leono wouldn't have made that decision on his own. These orders would have come from Lord Randis, of course.
Quite. Well, you know who to speak to then.
Talana nods. He says, well then, will you show me to where my lady will be staying under Lord Randis's roof? I need to ensure that her quarters are made to a level of comfort she's accustomed to. The man-at-arms stammers out, of course, and arranges for some servants to take her back down the hallway you saw earlier.
Evie, darling, if you need anything, you know how to get in touch with us.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll blow you a kiss and flounce out.
Rocks for Victor.
She's really mad.
Obviously, we made
I feel like Jeannie and Victor have been doing this their entire childhood. And it's just how they interact with each other.
Yeah, see, I think it takes, usually those kind of relationships, one person would say that, and the other person would be like, no, I got my ass bullied all through middle school.
It's possible. It's possible that Jeannie bullied...
Victor lifts up his shoes. I got stitches. She
older...
stabbed me with a fork.
The older child.
Isn't Victor older than you?
Yes, Jeannie. Yeah, so yeah, who's probably a head and a half shorter than him.
We're learning that Jeannie has Victor baggage that I don't think many of us were aware of before this session.
She just likes messing with her siblings, except Orson because he's a good dog.
Wow!
But she thinks he's a dog.
Wow.
I thought Victor was the most evil of all of you, according to the. I'm keeping track. I've got a spreadsheet, but I might have to reevaluate.
I've told you guys that the only person that Jeannie actually genuinely cares about is Evie.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah, you said that, but now seeing it so aptly demonstrated for us.
I've been doing this the entire campaign.
Victor only puts up with Jeannie because he has a use for her, so don't feel too bad.
Jeannie, you wouldn't bully your younger cousin, though, would you?
He's not younger.
No, me.
No. She considers Ekon like a colleague because he knows magic, and she likes Edmont's cool shades.
You've seen Victor throw like fire daggers and stuff at people, right?
I could throw fire too. That doesn't make him special.
All right. Let's get some evening actions then. After your afternoon meeting with the Squelcher Lord, the rest of you are perfectly welcome to hang out in the hall if you like. Many of the guests are here. A lot of the people here won't be staying here. They'll have pavilions outside of town, or they'll be staying at the beer house or somewhere else.
I do also want to point out that Jeannie does trust Victor enough to leave Evie with him.
But she would never, ever say that out loud to anybody.
She will never. She will take that to her grave.
So Jeannie's the only person who knows that.
Yes.
Oh, no, Ekon would. I think during this entire conversation, as they're leaving, Ekon will say that over because he's very aware. Victor, if it makes you feel better, you're literally Jeannie's first choice to keep her sisters. Can I do one-on-one on the mind link, or is it a group?
Yeah, it's one-on-one. It's one-on-one.
Okay.
It's not group at all.
It's not a chat room. Okay.
It's not a chat room. It's a
Instant
man in the
messenger.
middle. Yeah.
Yep.
Hashtag Jeannie loves Victor. So yeah, let's get some evening actions. I guess we'll start with Evie and Victor, since you guys are sensibly staying in this room tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, before we leave, real quick, if you guys just, we'll pass along the thing. If you need to get us, send the familiar. That was the.
Is there a
My
window
familiar's
in
in this room, so...
No, I'm just going to scream into your brain.
How long
Yeah,
does the
if-
mind link last?
It lasts for an hour, but I can reestablish it.
Do you have to see us?
Nope.
You only have to be
What's
within
the
a
range
mile.
on it? Oh, okay.
A mile.
Okay, that works.
All right, so what are Evie and Victor doing tonight?
I think we could spend some time in the hall. I get the sense that there's a lot of the Squelcher Lord's subjects who do not care for him very much. So I'm going to try to gauge the sentiment of the people in the hall. Like,
So there are people that you can tell just by watching the mood of the hall, and that when you were first announced. Like I said, there are people who were intrigued by your announcement. There are people who looked annoyed. There are people who looked entertained. So you kind of have your pick of what sort of people you'd like to approach this evening.
let's look for the people who seemed intrigued.
So Victor will accommodate Jeannie for part of that, but the other things that he wants to do tonight are, at some point, he wants to try and talk to Lord Voldemort's announcer guy.
The Seneschal?
Yeah, I guess the Seneschal. So he'll try to strike up a conversation with the Seneschal, servant to servant.
Okay, so Evie's going to strike up conversation with somebody in the hall that looked intrigued at her presence. Victor wants to speak with Leorno. What about the rest of you nerds?
Well, so hold on real fast. So Victor wants to do that, but at some point, he also wants to fuck with a guy that made the comment during dinner.
Please do not start shit right now, Victor.
And
I will tell you that I can take care of that.
So
you don't know.
is Jeannie doing something then?
Yeah, we'll get to me when Victor's done.
Well, Victor's
and then if it's possible, so after, does it seem like it's easy to leave the keep at night, or is it like well guarded? You
you
can't
have no idea.
Okay. So he's going to want to investigate leaving the keep at night, and if it's possible, he wants
This
to.
is in the evening. This will be through like the evening meal and the sun going down. We're not up to late night yet. We're talking
Okay.
about- All right. So Jeannie, what are you doing? Evening action.
I'm going to mingle with the guy that made fun of my sister over here.
Which one?
It's any of them. It's fine. I'm
Guy
going
who-
to use
who
my
asked
magic.
for buckets.
Yeah, I'm going to magical tinkering his shirt to smell like dung. So it will continuously emit a choice of odor perceivable up to 10 feet away.
That's all you're doing this evening?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I'm just watching him. I'm staying in the party until it wraps up.
Edmont and Ekon. What about you guys?
Flot is going to return to the beer house, but instead of like actually just going down there to bed for the night, what he's going to do is he's going to take his painter supplies and he's going to take a sketch of the town square. Ostensibly, not just where the guys are pilloried up, but also like just the scenery around. He's kind of getting a slice of life, kind of kind of a sketch for this area.
Okay. And Ekon.
So Ekon makes it a point to probably about 2 or 3 times a day do a quick once-over of his whole party for magic. Are there any unusual auras that I'm not familiar with on anyone?
No, they
Before we
all
leave?
are just the same level of magical strange that they usually are.
Okay, so Edmont didn't get like a weird leaf or anything that was magical?
Oh yeah, he is carrying.
Yeah, I mean, I think at this point Ekon would specifically, mostly looking for curses, but I think he's literally like 3 times a day he checks every member.
Do you ask? Yeah, he's carrying something magical that he didn't have this morning.
Did you pick up something magical on the way? I'll ask him at the house.
I'll take a small pinch of herb and look at it and say, this is the only thing, so I guess this is it.
He's got a
Where'd you
small
get it?
quantity of tobacco clasped in a piece of parchment, and it has some kind of lingering enchantment upon it.
Not just dried, whatever they put on it. Can't tell you any more than that.
I mean, don't forget I have identify if you corner me. Like my plan is to
You're not.
stay in the...
You said you said you're up at the thing until the party winds down. So I'd have to hit you up for that later.
Yeah, when Jeannie gets back to the room, maybe have her do a more thorough investigation before you smoke it. I'd like to go and talk to the people that sold that, though. I'm actually interested now.
Okay, so you're going to do that this evening?
Yeah.
Are you taking his leaf with him? Because that seems...
No, he can have it. No, I'm not. This actually isn't all that accusatory. I think the whole story is interesting to Ekon.
Okay. Bear with me one moment.
Oh no, bear.
Bear is driving. How is this possible?
Wow, that's an old school reference, man. All right. Jeannie, I guess we'll do you first because I think that's going to be the easiest one to get out of the way. You make the man's shirt smell like dung. People take notice, and he looks embarrassed. And after a few minutes, enough people have scooched away from him and, abruptly ended conversations that he gets up and makes some polite excuses, and then he leaves the room out the front door.
Okay. I'll count to about 15 minutes, give him time to leave, and then end the effect where his shirt no longer smells like dung.
Okay.
Just confuse him even more.
After he's left, after a few moments, the conversation was too polite to point it out while he was sitting here, but yeah, somebody brings up, what do you suppose? He wiped his ass with his shirt? And they start making fun of him in his absence.
Justice.
All right. Edmont.
Sure.
Sketching out the town.
Mm-hmm.
The pillory, the marketplace, the bakehouse.
Yep.
The hill leading up to where the keep is.
I'm fully expecting the wide brim hat man to just appear in my drawing at some point. I'm just kind of letting it roll off my back for now.
Not until you've completed the sketch. Mm-hmm. There's your friend, a man leaning on a scythe, wearing a wide brim straw hat. He's standing on the pillory, at the edge of the pillory, and the man in the pillory. You look closely at the sketch, and it looks like the man with the hat has removed his head with his scythe, and it now lays on the platform at his feet.
I also go big when I notice this, and then, okay, that's new.
Ekon.
Mm-hmm.
Rolling up at the tobacco farm this evening. You're greeted by the same boy that your brother spoke to earlier.
My brother was here earlier, and he told me a bit about what had happened here. What, do you know the name of the disease? And I will also relay my own condolences as well as his.
That's an excellent question. Let's go to fantasynamegenerator.com.
Oh,
they
disease
died.
Generator?
This is rough, dude. They died of the crystal blisters.
Ew.
Do I know of that disease? Do I need to make a medicine check?
It doesn't sound pleasant.
Okay.
The hell Ebola.
You know what? I'm not going to describe what crystal blisters are,
Uh-huh.
but we'll say that yes, this is it's a rare, non-contagious disease that is a horrific thing to die from.
Okay. So I think it's non-contagious.
Probably.
Okay. And I will, I'll ask him if they've taken collections or have an alms box or anything for their family after they're, losing his mom and sister.
I beg your pardon. We wouldn't accept charity, of course. Charity is theft.
Mm.
He seems offended at the insinuation.
Charity is theft.
Can I make an insight to know, like, if that's like a religious or if that's like the Squelcher Lord, like where where culturally he has that opinion from?
Yeah, go ahead and make an insight check. I mean, that kind of blindsided you.
It's a 20.
Having heard the stories of the Squelcher Lord and then having met the man briefly in his hall, this might just be an idea passed down from his seat. This idea that you should give people money that they did not earn or don't necessarily deserve for no reason other than to help them would be an affront to a man like Lord Randus.
Okay. Do I have any thoughts aside from just buying some tobacco at a grossly inflated price on a way to get some money into this kid's hand without him being offended?
Your insight was a 20?
Yeah.
Having inadvertently caused offense, you're not sure he would be willing to bend the rules and make you the same offer that he made Edmont earlier. You think asking for a pinch of the Lord's stash might be pushing things. Not impossible, but it would require a persuasion check.
Okay, I am not going to be doing that because I'm terrible at it. I will just buy a normal amount of tobacco, and then I'll send one of the rogues to sneak the money into his whatever I see him put my silver into.
Before the record, he and his father have the tobacco farm. It looks like they're making a brisk business of things.
Okay.
So,
I mean, Ekon still has his principles.
A few silvers worth of tobacco. But yeah, it's very, very strange to have heard something like that.
And where does he put the money when I give it to him?
You just hear it clink into a box or a drawer or something just out of sight on his side of the window.
Cool. All right. I think that's good for me.
Okay. Victor. It takes a few moments to grab Leorno when he has a second in his duties. He politely turns. Where do you want to have a conversation with him at? Here in the hall or somewhere else?
Somewhere else, if that's possible.
So out in the foyer would be one option. Trying to catch him out in the yard would be the other option, probably.
Probably out in the yard.
Okay. And he asks if everything is to your Duchess's liking.
You'll have to forgive the Duchess Evelyn. She can be very, well, you know how nobles are. But yes, everything is to her liking. You seem to have done a fine job at establishing accommodations for us, and we thank you for that.
He seems pleased.
So I was hoping you could tell me a little bit more about Lord Randus and this domain that he maintains. It seems very well ordered, you could say.
What would you like to know?
I suppose the main thing that he's trying to get are what are the major problems that Randus is dealing with. Basically, what are his areas of weakness? In the sense of what does he have less control over, judging by
How do you phrase that? Because you're talking to the man's trusted seneschal. You can walk up and, hey, what are Randus's weaknesses?
No, so he's going to phrase it as sort of, it seems like a very orderly domain. We notice there's some people in the stocks. Do you have a problem with fornication and what was the other one? It wasn't debauchery.
The other three, the other three were just
disobedience.
Disobedience, yes.
Yeah. Do you have a problem with disobedience and fornication in this area?
And he tells you that, as you can see, the law and order of the village is well maintained by Lord Randus's hand.
And this extends to across his realm. He's able to maintain such an iron grip. That's very impressive.
Leonor motions out to the noblemen and women sitting in the room. Outside of the village is the purview of his vassals. So it's their job to keep their own lands in order.
And if I might, what happens if they fail Lord Randus? He does not seem to be a man with much patience.
Oh, Lord Randus is a patient and delicate man indeed, and quite compassionate to his leal vassals. He seems to say knowingly.
And those who aren't loyal?
And he thinks for a moment, and he tells you that he doesn't recall a time where the situation has come up. But if such a thing were to happen, he's certain that Lord Randus would deal with it swiftly and decisively.
And those in the hall, these are all his loyal servants that have been joining us tonight?
And as you're asking more questions, servants come up to Leorno and they require him, and he politely excuses himself from your company.
One quick thing I feel I should mention before you leave. During dinner, we overheard some of the guardsmen say rather, well, unflattering things about your lord. You may want to take a look into that.
Leorno straightens up to the extent that he can, with some pain and difficulty. He tells you that if there are men in Lord Randus's hall that are speaking ill of him, be assured that Lord Randus already knows of them. And he smiles and gives you a nod, and he goes about his business. He is spirited away from you by the house servants. That leaves Evie.
Mm-hmm.
The couple that draws your attention the most are Elic and Kalena Michaels, the mother and the father of the groom for the wedding. These are wealthy nobles, vassals of Lord Randus, whose lands are very, very close to his. When you entered the room earlier and you were announced, they were among the ones that seemed intrigued. And once it's been pointed out to you who they were and who they represented, these are the ones that you think are best to approach.
Mm-hmm.
So you find yourself in conversation with the father, Elic, and the mother, Kalena, both middle-aged, very polite, very friendly, and you get the sense they're also very gossipy.
Mm-hmm.
Also, at this point in the evening, fairly drunk.
Uh-huh.
What are
This
your
is
intentions?
exactly what I want. Well, I want to make friends with some people who look at me and don't think, oh, this is just some upstart. This is, an intriguing development. There's a new duchess to the south who, vanquished the Celtistravi with the aid of her people.
Okay. And when you bring that up, they've already heard stories that the werewolves in the south have been run off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and now that they're drunk, I would like to... So what do you think Lord Randus will do now that the Celtistravi are gone from my lands?